So where is Troy? It's not a terribly big city with about 50,000 people. It's on the Hudson River, the same river that runs between New Jersey and the west side of Manhattan. It's near Albany, almost 140 miles north of the city. It's almost as east as you can get in New York State, and very near the spot where Massachusetts and Vermont intersect at the New York border. Troy is very small in area, it's 11 square miles. For comparison, here's Albany, Buffalo, and New York City. The Hudson River stops being navigable by ships past Troy. This means that if you're trying to ship something north, Troy is the last stop, unless you're using a canal. This made the area around Troy an important stop for shipping goods north to Vermont and the Adirondacks. Now, during the War of 1812, a guy named Samuel Wilson worked as a meat packer, and legend has it that he would stamp the letters US onto his packages, which troops would joke stood for Uncle Sam. Troy has milked this legend for all it's worth, claiming to be the home of Uncle Sam to this day. In 1814, a woman named Emma Willard made history by leading the first institute of higher education for women in the United States, the Troy Female Seminary, known today as the Emma Willard School. The institution is still in operation as an elite private high school, known by some as the best private school in upstate New York. In the 19th century, Troy became a leading manufacturer of steel, perhaps only second to Pittsburgh in the US. Troy became full of wealthy merchants, many of them built mansions which can be found in Troy's Central Historic District today. In the 1820s, a woman named Hannah Lord Montague invented the detachable collar. Legend has it that she was just tired of cleaning her husband's blacksmith shirts, so she snipped off the collar to clean just that. The idea caught on, and in the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, it became fashionable to wear collars and cuffs that were detachable and interchangeable for one's shirt. In addition to Troy's metalworking industry, Troy became the center of manufacturing for shirts and collars, giving it the nickname Collar City. Now, there aren't really any super tall buildings in Troy, but the architecture is still stunning. This building is called the Cannon Building. I think it's really cool because it was built in 1835 to hold a bunch of stores, and it's still standing to this day, almost 200 years later, in Troy's Monument Square. This building is called the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall. For whatever reason, the Troy Savings Bank decided to include a music hall on the upper floors of its offices. The music hall opened in 1875 and has been in use ever since. The Troy Savings Bank was founded in 1823 and remained independent until 2004, when it was acquired by First Niagara Financial Group, today a part of KeyBank. This is Washington Park. It's a little bit south of the Troy Savings Bank building, and it's a private urban ornamental park. Apparently those are pretty rare, with only 2 in New York State. It looks very pretty. Troy is home to the Tri-City Valley Cats, a short-season single-A baseball team. The Valley Cats are the only team that is affiliated with Major League Baseball in the Albany metro area, which indicates that Albany's sports market is very weak for its size. Unfortunately, as of December 2020, the Valley Cats lost their affiliation with the Houston Astros and are in jeopardy of shutting down. Troy is home to RPI, a very well-ranked engineering school that sits on top of a hill overlooking downtown. RPI, which stands for Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, was founded in 1824 by Stephen van Rensselaer, a wealthy landowner descended from the Dutch settlers who came to this area in the 17th century. Some estimate his net worth to have been over $100 billion in today's dollars, making him one of the 10 richest men in American history, and at least the 4th wealthiest person in the US today if he were alive. RPI is a nationally renowned engineering school, and it consistently ranks around 50th in the US News for best universities in the US. RPI has a beautiful campus, with a great view of downtown Troy from below. Troy is also home to Russell Sage College, just south of downtown Troy, a little bit near Washington Park. It was originally a women's college, founded in 1916 by the wife of railroad financier Russell Sage. Today, Russell Sage College has campuses in both Albany and Troy and offers a plethora of degrees for both men and women. In the 1960s, there were big plans for a mall in downtown Troy to be known as the Uncle Sam Mall. An ambitious $96 million project was planned, but only a much smaller $9 million project was completed 10 years later in 1979. The Troy Atrium, as it is now known, is universally regarded as a failure. It tore up a large area in the heart of downtown Troy and is virtually vacant except for a few government agencies. The moral of this story is that you shouldn't build malls in the center of struggling American cities.
I want to make a disclaimer for everyone in the audience about the poverty and crime in Troy. Like many American cities of its size, Troy has to deal with a fair amount of violent crime, and 25% of Troy residents live below the poverty line. These issues are prevalent and I'm not ignoring them, I'm just focusing on the positive things about Troy.
Troy's downtown blocks are very small, which gives the city a very walkable feel. There are also quite a few alleys here, though some look better than others. Franklin Alley has recently been decorated with some beautiful art, and it feels pretty inviting despite having no storefronts on it. Troy's downtown leans heavily on boutique shopping, something which has suffered nationwide during the coronavirus pandemic. Outdoor dining kept the city vibrant during the summer, but the winter will be a challenge for sure.
Well, I hope you now have a better understanding and appreciation for the College City. I'll see you next time on the DC Show.